Sweet Jovia. And DC. That's huge. Sure.
What's up, friends? What's up, friends in Shineland? It's Frankie Parker. And no, it's not Nycee. She ain't here, dog. Nycee working. So it's just me, myself, and I, and my very special guest. I am so glad to have on the show. I'm just going to introduce her because it's just time for her to be introduced on the Frankie and Nycee radio show. As she takes her hat
I have
off,
to take
honey.
my
She
hat
getting
off.
comfortable,
There we
okay?
go.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you guys my good old friend and great percussionist, educator, school owner, writer, tour manager, you name it. She's not Jamaican. Give it up for Miss Jovia Armstrong, y'all. Woo! Welcome
Hey.
to the Frankie and Nycee radio show,
Thank you
Joey.
so much for having me.
I'm so glad that you accepted our invitation.
Oh yeah.
So I got to let the listeners in on something that I've totally been inviting you to the show for like a minute, and we just been our schedules have been just crazy. I mean, in particular yours. I mean,
Yeah.
both of our schedules have conflicted, but
My
in
bad.
particular yours, because she's always working, y'all. I mean, she's everywhere. Where did you just come from?
Sometimes you ask that question, I don't even remember.
Okay,
Uh,
that's not good.
so yeah, because I told you earlier I was on tour. I was not on tour this weekend. This past tour, this past weekend, I was at the NAMM show out in Anaheim,
In
California.
California,
Yeah.
were you there as
Well, I went as an artist, so
as an
yeah,
artist?
I'm
Okay.
endorsed with a couple of companies. Sabian
I
Symbols.
know. I love your
Sabian.
pictures on Facebook with your big old symbols and
Yeah,
stuff.
thank you. And an affiliate or a company that they own called Gone Bob's Percussion. So I was there representing them. They asked me to come out, so I went out, and I mean it's really cool. You get a chance to meet other musicians and singers and music business folk, and
Hmm. It's the best networking
yeah,
experience
yeah.
in the country. And then, it always happens around the Grammys and around the
Hmm.
Oscars and all that stuff. So everybody's in California already.
Yeah,
Pretty dope, right?
everybody's there. Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
I just want to talk okay, I didn't bring this up in the back because I didn't want to taint the moment.
Okay.
But Jovia and I have performed maybe twice, I think, or once or twice together. I think once
Oh, it's been a while.
at the Majestic Star Casino.
Yep.
And I remember seeing her coming in, Gary Baker. Shout out to Gary Baker and Surge Band. Gary Baker that calls me and talks like this, and I want to shoot him every time he calls me. Yes, Gary Baker. He hired us to come and perform at the Majestic Star Casino, and he mentioned that there was going to be an extra musician that night.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. Less work for me because I'm always on some lazy stuff. So,
Right.
so then here she comes in. I believe we were all white that day. We had on all white. You don't remember because you work a lot. And
Yeah, I'm looking at you like,
she had
yeah.
like a tank top, like a white beater, and some jeans. And then you were bringing the drums in, and I was like, why? Who the hell is this girl? Like, and why is she coming in here with these drums extra hard? Like she's ready to go. And she's a roadie. I didn't know who you were. And then all of a sudden I heard you play, and I was like, oh, I am late. Like I'm the one that's behind it. She is amazing, y'all. Like, and I've seen you in other shows. I've seen you work with Marquell.
Mm.
Who else have I seen you with? I don't know who else I've seen you with, but a bunch of people.
Mm.
And every time I see you, it's a treat. So,
Aw, thank you so much.
you hold artistry up to a very high esteem when you perform, and we appreciate people like you.
Aw,
So
thank you.
yes,
Try my best for my audience.
yes. So how did you get started playing the drums?
Yeah. Ooh, it was strange. I was in elementary, so in Detroit, where I'm from, we have elementaries, middle schools, or junior highs and high schools. So most of the elementaries go up to like sixth grade. So in sixth grade, I heard an announcement over the PA saying, "Hey, the band has a drum set now. We just brought a drum set, and
Oh,
we need
cool.
drummers." I never played before, but I always wanted to play, and so I just asked my teacher, "Can I go audition?" And she said, "Sure." And I went down the hall. I auditioned, and I made the band. It was me and like two other kids, and I graduated shortly after that because again it was sixth grade. I got to junior high. The junior high didn't have a band program,
Wow.
so I then started learning how to play cello. So because they had a string program, so I
Mhm.
played cello. Then they cut music the next year. So eighth grade, I played basketball.
What position
Fit-
did you play? I'm guessing guard.
Yeah, because I'm short.
Yes.
Everybody thinks I'm so tall. I'm like only 5'2", 2.5.
See, I was there with you. I played guard too. I played guard and power forward though.
Well, yeah,
I was
that was
evil.
me. That
I
was me.
evil.
I did both. I did both. And but it was weird though because there was something within me as that 13-year-old kid that was like, don't hurt yourself.
Right. Like don't break an arm.
Exactly. Because there was something where I was just like, I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to play. And so So yeah, I remember the last game of that season. It was the championship game, and just like this girl, she was like 8'9", right? And I really wanted to like make this like my last game, like So one of my teammates, she threw the ball, and it was all in slow motion. It's like, okay, here comes the rebound, and I'm looking at this girl who's like 10'12", right?
She's
And
gonna
I'm
get
just
taller,
like,
really.
yeah. And I'm just like, I could take her. I could take her. Went up for the rebound, right? And then when I woke up,
When she woke up, ladies and gentlemen,
yeah,
catch that.
my finger had this knot on it. It was stiff, and like all these people were looking at me, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore.
No, I don't want to.
So
I want to sit on the ground
yeah,
and play the drums.
I want to play the drums. So yeah, so that following year, I went to Cass Tech High School. They had a humongous music program. Donald Byrd went there, Jerry Allen,
Oh, the Donald Byrd.
a lot of Lily Tomlin, David Allen Greer. Like the school was just amazing. But I went there and started like majoring in percussion in ninth grade, and I knew since I was 12 though that I wanted to play percussion.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. See, everybody has a destiny and they don't even know that their destiny is already really set before them until somebody tells them that, but you're living in that moment, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope. If you would have kept going, you may have like jammed your finger and they would have
Oh
been leaning
man.
this
Yeah,
way. And that thump just wouldn't
oh
be right.
no,
The
no,
thump wouldn't the
not
thump.
at all.
That thump wouldn't the thump wouldn't be right.
It wouldn't be
right. So I didn't know you were from Detroit, so I learned something
Oh
new.
yeah.
I was reading your bio on the back and I saw a couple of awards that you got that were based out of Detroit or recognition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know that. So what brought you here? And thank you for coming.
Thank you. What brought me? Oh well, we're probably gonna get into it a little later. There, and I'm gonna try to make this story super short. But I was at Michigan State University studying music. Ran into a a percussionist who had a well-known name, and he was kind of like my mentor's
Okay.
rival percussionist. But
That's
anyway,
interesting.
yeah, right.
They do beat the hell out of each other.
No. Comedian.
Corny joke of the day.
So, well, here's the thing though. He was new to East Lansing, which is where Michigan State
Okay.
is located. And he said, "Hey, yeah, I met you, and blah blah blah." Yeah, he introduced us, and I'm new here. I would love it if you help me get new students here. And I said, "Okay, cool." He was setting up shop and looking, trying, and he's like, "Well, you know everybody here," so I said, "Cool." So we're talking on the phone. And he's talking about flyers and where I could put them up, and then he says, "Yeah, I got to go right now, but let's continue this over dinner, and I promise I won't rape you."
What? Okay, that was creepy.
Yeah, it scared the crap out of me.
That's creepy.
And I
Creepy
packed my
man.
bags and moved to Chicago.
Okay,
Yeah,
that'll make you run.
never talked to him again.
Yeah, I bet that would. Promise you I won't rape you.
Yeah, I didn't want to
That's a
hear
problem.
that.
All right. Didn't expect that story.
Yeah.
You keep them coming, Joey.
Yeah, I know, right?
Keep them coming.
So yeah, that's how I ended up in Chicago. So what I did is I transferred from Michigan State University, enrolled at Columbia College.
Columbia
And
took all my money. I went there too.
Got to make that money back, right? But I ended up instead of studying music, I finished up in music business. I was
Okay.
already performing, so I didn't feel like I needed a performance degree anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Wow. And that is how she got here, y'all.
Yeah.
And now she's everywhere.
Yes.
She's everywhere. So, okay, this is going to be a part of another game. So I'm going to skip that question because I'm
Okay.
going ahead of the game. But I do want to know, okay, where have you been recently, traveling wise?
On the weekend before, I was on the East Coast. We played in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and the Apollo Theater
Cool.
in
How
New York.
was that?
And it was the small. They have another stage, the Apollo Music Cafe.
Mhm.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Was it weird? Like, did you feel like something I've heard people say that when you perform there, no matter where you are in that building, like you feel stuff.
There was, yeah, there. there's a certain energy there.
Yeah.
We had a chance to even rub the log, and
That's cool. Did you take a picture of that?
yes,
Okay, you
yeah,
gotta take a picture of
took a
that.
picture, and actually it was one of the best shows we've had, in the past
Something
year.
about that
It
place.
was awesome. I mean, people were dancing from the very first song.
Wow.
It was great. It was a sold out show, and
Who are you with?
JC Brooks band.
Let's talk about him. See that segue, girl? You're not getting good at this right now. Thing. Let's talk about him. Let's talk about J.C. Brooks.
Yeah, JC Brooks. So I started freelancing. I was just a hired gun with them starting in 2012,
Hmm.
and it was around that time in my life. I can admit, just as an educator, I've learned to allow myself to be vulnerable. So I can admit that I would say because I went to a school of music, I had a chip on my shoulder. I didn't want to come out and play $50 gigs.
Okay, is that a chip on your shoulder?
I don't. I mean, is it?
I mean, you're in debt. You need the money. $50 ain't gonna do
It's a
that.
chip and a
$14,000.
cookie.
What's a chip
It's
and
a
a
chip
cookie?
and a cookie.
It's a chookie.
It's a chookie. I mean, that was the thing, but that's just really not how the music industry works, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I tell my students all the time, there is no HR department. With
True
the
that.
old man who said he promised he wouldn't rape me. I mean, it's like, who do I report him to? Nobody. I just got to move.
Right.
Just got to get
All the way to
away.
Chicago.
All the way.
I just think that's so funny.
Just go. Like, I'm out of
I'm
here.
moving to Chicago. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But that was the thing. So around that time in my life, I decided to just chill out. Like, just say yes to everything. Like, just be easy to work with. Just say yes. Um, and don't worry about all of that. And so I pretty much, when I started playing with them, I just said yes to everything. Anything they asked me to play, and if they said no, try this, or no, 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 try that, and eventually, because they didn't know how good I was,
Right.
I would say I could do both at the same time, and they were like,
Ah, she's
"Oh,
magical.
okay,"
Columbia. That's what did that.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I got another foot. I can play that too. So, um, I would even show up to their rehearsal space, help them load the van up, and unload, getting to the shows, and just being a true team player. I didn't really know how big the band was or anything like that. Again, it was just about me saying yes and changing my perspective on this business and what I was doing in it. The same thing with dealing with men, like, when they say, I promise I won't rape you, it's like, don't run anymore. Learn how to manage that. And I hate the word dealing. I hate when people say, oh, I don't have time to deal with you. It's like, oh, that's kind of has a
But
negative
you kind of have to deal with
connotation.
people.
But I like the word managing.
Yeah.
It's like you have to manage it, because it happens so often, and you can't. I hate saying, you have to play this little, I shouldn't say game, but it's just how it works. You kind of, if someone's flirting with you, you might do a little flirting something back, but at the end of the day, if you just flat out say no, leave me alone, it's like, oh, you've lost a gig.
Yeah.
So you got to
Absolutely,
find a
Jackson.
balance with all of that too.
I think that's kind of a girl thing, and I'm kind of glad. I mean, I hate to say this, but it's just like being an African American in this country. There's a expectation to be able to assimilate to certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we go to school for. Let's just keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
We go to school for that. We go and we learn and we study and we do forums and that's the point of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just real. I
No,
understand
it is
that.
real.
But as a
Yeah.
woman, I think, and especially in our industry, and this is kind of going into the segue of what I want to talk about. So let's just start at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we all know that we had this big march.
Mm-hmm.
Women had a women's march on Washington this past weekend, exactly a day after Trump had his inauguration, which I'm sure was definitely planned on purpose. Yes, it was. Okay, so and we got this big event on day one, and then day two we have an even bigger event where the Women's March on Washington was 3 times larger than the president's inaugural event. So now we're at a place now in this country where women are coming together, whether they voted for Trump or voted for Hillary, whether they're black or white, whether they're rich or poor, whether they're victims of inner city or victims of living off the grid, whatever the case might be.
Mhm.
They've come together and they've made a decision to protest against separatism in the work environment, sexual separatism, and prejudice, and many other things that the women are protesting for per Trump's inauguration and per Trump's actions during his campaign, which were very inappropriate.
Yep.
Okay, so
Very,
yes,
very much so.
I'm cleaning it up because we're on the air and I don't want to curse, but ask me how I really feel later and I'll tell you with a whole bunch of curse words.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
So I wanted to kind of, because we talked about this a little bit prior to the show starting, just the importance of how you set yourself up in a male dominated profession, which is the question of the day.
Mhm.
Are you a woman in a male dominated profession? If so, please call us 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. So we're in this male dominated,
We are.
us.
Yeah.
Us. She is a percussionist. I think she's got it worse than me because I can fire them. Like I'm the band leader. I could just fire the guys, but I'm
Yeah.
still it's band leader against band leader.
Yeah.
So same thing with the percussionist.
Yeah.
So tell me, how was that kind of molded your career as far as like the decisions that you made?
I mean, it's still kind of strange to me. I grew up being the tomboy. So I've always been around boys, and I grew up being around men, and you know, um, I've always was seen as the cool chick. I was always um, I can sit there and take some of those conversations I hear backstage, and
Oh boy.
then the older I got, it started to bother me. Like, oh, like I got to hear this because once you reach a certain age, it's like, oh wow, this is not going to stop.
It's not.
It's not going to stop. But I want to say that I've gotten used to it. I've been able to find a way to go off into my own little corner if I need to. But for the most part, I absolutely love men, love them to death, and and they mainly look out for me. It is this industry male dominated, very much so. Um, but I don't feel like I don't feel like I have to prove myself anymore.
Okay.
You know, um,
Because you've
I
done a
have,
lot.
but then again, you have Chicago is very separate. It's a very segregated city from
Absolutely.
what I've learned since I've moved
Absolutely.
here. And what I see is that you go to Humboldt Park and you've got it. It's kind of heavily Puerto Rican. And when it comes to me playing these drums, these congas, I studied Afro-Cuban percussion and studied a little bit of Brazilian and Peruvian percussion. And unfortunately, I don't get phone calls to play that stuff. I get phone calls to play R&B and soul and hip hop, rock. Um, and so it's really hard getting into those Puerto Rican circuits, as far as trying to play with them in their music. And I would have to like go in there and just really prove myself. But after a while, that just kind of drains you, wears you out, and you decide I need to do my own thing, which is what
Just
I've
do
been
me.
focusing
Right.
on for years, is doing me, um, doing what I know how to do instead of trying to fit into somebody else's circle. Um, at the end of the day, it ends up being a waste of time if you're just trying to like let me in, just let me in. I can play. I can show you that I can play. And even after they saw me play, it was still kind of like,
Do you find yourself
okay.
a little more cockier? Like I know in my case,
I don't. I
I
don't.
do.
I'm super. Because the thing is, I think a part of my issue is I'm very humble. I know that I still got a lot of other things to learn.
Right.
Because percussion is such a huge. Percussion is the one instrument outside the voice that's all over the world.
Right.
Trumpet is not all over. Um, the guitar that we know of is not all, is common in a lot of different places now, but you go to Lebanon and these other countries and they have different types of guitars.
Mhm.
So it's not going to be easy for even Isaiah Sharkey,
Right.
it's not going to be easy for him to even pick up, one of those instruments. Um, so for me, it's like I realize that there's a lot for me to learn, and I try to learn from everyone. And I think that works into my personality. When I meet someone, I'm trying to get to know them and learn them as well, and it helps me on the stage. Um, One thing that I noticed though is weird. I don't know if you have, but I saw someone make a post about this earlier today, where if you are kind, a lot of people take kindness for flirting and
Oh
stuff like that.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, no, I just want to be here in this rehearsal, and I just want to play my drums right now.
Right.
I'm not looking at you. Well, maybe I am looking at you, but
But right in this moment, right
right
now,
now,
right here, in
yeah,
this moment,
that's not what's
I'm playing
happening.
these drums.
Yeah,
And I get that. But I think too that's kind of a double standard in a way, because if a guy's just being nice, he's just being nice. But if a girl's being nice, she wants something other than just a conversation or a peaceful environment to work
yeah,
in.
and I think
Yeah.
I hear a lot of guys complain about that too, how they speak to women and they side eye them or something, and
Right.
it's like,
And
you
it's
know,
okay. I just post. You know what's weird?
hmm
You know how you okay, you don't probably don't know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Sophia is worse than me when it
I
comes to
don't.
social media. Okay, let me shout out some people real quick. Brandon Farrell Brown, Candace Brodnick. Hey, Damien, Romeo, who else? London K, what's up, London? Michael Kennedy. Hey, Michael. Yeah, so we got some folks on. So I just wanted to say, she don't know nothing about Facebook, okay? So what I was
I'm
gonna
on it all
say,
day, right?
yeah, I was gonna say something that you probably could not relate to, but because it was pertaining to Facebook.
Right.
But at the end of the day, all with all jokes aside, it is important that you do carry yourself in the impression that you feel that you who you hold yourself to be, right?
Yeah, it's in a professional environment. I mean,
Yeah.
again, there's no HR person there, but you still should carry yourself in a way that you're not offending others in the room. It still should be a professional
It can be
environment.
pleasant too,
It can be very
but
pleasant, and you
it's
can
just a
laugh and
double
joke.
standard. It's a double standard, and I
Sure.
think that I don't know. It's in my opinion, and I'm not like this. I crack jokes about being this evil, dictator Trump esque leader. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so this Trump esque leader that just wants to go and just dominate and be totally just a jerk to our band members. The guys the guys that tell you I'm probably too lenient in some cases, but when I go in and I, like, for instance, we have gigs or we're looking to bid on a gig or something and they see me coming, it's almost, to me, in my mind, and this just might be me, that I automatically assume that you don't assume that I am the person that's in charge,
Oh yeah.
or that I'm
Oh
the
yeah.
band leader.
Every time I walk on the stage, I'm the singer. Every time, I'm like, oh, where do you want your mic? Uh, back over here, please. Yeah, I mean, with the JC Brooks band, I do. Well, we all sing background, but yeah, I get that all the time. I walk on stage. I'm the only female in the band, so yeah, of course I'm the lead vocalist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't be playing another
of
instrument.
course not. No,
It's just wrong. It's just not right.
I mean it's funny. Even as I tour manage, I created the stage plot and all this production. Kind of molded all of that, put all that together, all those documents, and even when I talked to the sound guy about, well, JC is going to have his vocal processor here. We're going to need this and this input, and he'll still, after 20 minutes of trying to figure something out, he can't figure it out. He'll go to the drummer. He'll go to somebody
Isn't that
else. Yeah, and it's
crazy?
like I'm the one who put it together, but it's cool, like especially if it's a question that they know, fine.
Yeah.
But
But it's not assumed that you're in that role because
yeah, it's
there
just
aren't
the
too many female tour managers. Not that I could think off at the top of my head personally in my circle that I
hmm
know. I
I
don't.
remember when I toured, well, not toured, I played a few times with Omar back in the day, and his tour manager, his manager is female, um and I think she had an assistant. They were both female, and I remember one night a promoter shorted them a little money, and that green room turned red.
Yeah, I've been known for that too. I mean, and I hate to say it, but it's almost like I go hard because I know that you're not going to take me seriously. and
Mhm.
then I run into guys that, let me go back and say this. My grandmother, the original Frankie Cameron, by the way, congratulations. She just got married yesterday. Yeah,
Oh,
my grandma.
aw.
uh,
There's still hope.
yeah, 73 almost.
That's
And she's,
awesome.
yeah. So,
Wow.
um, she was my first role model as a black female leader. My grandmother was the person that kind of just established everything for us, as far as the family. She is the matriarch of the family. She had her own business. She was a broker, an insurance broker in the south suburbs in the time when there weren't too many of us even doing that type of work. I mean, she's got her own business now. She runs a beauty supply store that's been open for 20 years.
Nice.
She's property owner, and then the boss lady of the family. Like, she's the boss. Okay. So I've always seen a woman in charge, but I will say Frankie Cameron, the original Frankie, is tough as nails. And whenever I meet a man that does business with her, I always proceed with caution because
Hmm.
I don't know how they're going to react when I say, "Do you know Frankie Cameron?" And they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, yes, oh my God." That's my grandmother. Okay, you can have whatever you want. It's almost like having a godfather for my grandmother.
Wow.
And in a way, and I don't mean that in a mean, vicious way, but I mean it from a perspective of that she always taught us just to be tough and to stand ground, still be respectful,
Mhm.
but know that there are going to be people that try you just because of your gender, and they're going to think that you don't have the type of empowerment to build a business, to be on your own without the
Yeah.
assistance of a man. So I think that's just in me. So when I go in, I'm like, like we have this look. The family has a look called the Frankie look. Everybody knows that you put your glasses down and then you like
Uh-oh.
ball your mouth up. Everybody knows that look, and it always works. So I stick with it. So it's been in me. I can't help it.
Mhm.
But can't help it. Let's talk about what you can't help but do, but perform with all these great people. Okay, like I looked at your list:
Uh-oh.
Elder
That's ex-
Barge,
Oh, yeah.
Rashawn Patterson,
Mhm.
Eric Roberson.
Yes.
Okay, one of my favorites, and you probably wouldn't know this, Nicole Mitchell
Oh,
and
wow.
Black Earth
Yeah.
Ensemble. They were on Delmark at one point. I don't know if they're
Mhm.
still signed to Delmark.
She releases so much music. It's always every project is a little different. So
Okay,
we just released one on another a Chicago label
it's probably
recently.
Delmark. I don't know.
I think it's a different label.
Okay,
Mhm.
no, Corey Wilkes was on there, but my
Mhm.
stepfather-in-law is a producer for that label. His
Oh,
name is
awesome.
Steve. Yeah,
Steve, what's his last name?
Wagner.
Okay, I don't know
Yeah.
him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah, Nick.
impressions,
The impressions. Yeah.
the impressions are kind of cool to me. Martha
Yeah.
Reeves, Frank McComb.
Yeah, Frank McComb. Yes, love him.
Yes. So you played with all of these great people. Like,
Mhm.
so what was the best experience? I know that's not everybody, but
Yeah, because there was a worst. There was a worst, so we won't talk about that experience. But well, it's always a pleasure playing with Frank McComb.
okay.
Um,
Why?
Number one, he's just down to earth. He comes in, he treats you like family. From the first day he meets you, and I like the fact that his musicianship is like so sky high. Um, he goes from city to city working with different musicians all the time. So he's able to just come into that city and, pick up this band and just work with them and just, no, I want you to play it like this. And I want you to play this like that. And it's just very like, it's a humbling experience, but he's someone who knows what he wants and he's very patient. Um, he's patient with you and he motivates you. He even if he's not that he's done this with me, but I've seen him. He gets a little passionate
Okay.
when he's on stage, and he might yell like, "No, man, right here," and but after that show is over with, he's giving hugs, and it's like, "Hey, man, yeah, I need you to work on this, like, and I'll be back in a few months." And so Frank is he's always a pleasure to work with. And I want to say though, El DeBarge, I learned a lot from him. Um,
A lot of people that, well, not a lot, but several people I know have said the same thing. And the way that you said it, like, it's like deep, like sincere.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was. it was something about him and how he handled the band that did not practice his music.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Woo, the toes.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the situation was. I came in, I was subbing for my good friend Chris Paquette. It was
Hey,
the last.
Chris.
What's up, Chris? um, but Chris, I think he double booked himself. He needed me to cover the Eldebard show, and so I came in at the last minute. So I don't know what the situation was, but I just know that the horn players didn't have it together, and maybe a few other musicians, and so Eldebard would just politely say, "Yeah, y'all got that line? You got it yet? It goes like this." And he played it on piano, and okay, you got it yet? All right, you tell you what, y'all work on that. I'll be right back. And he would walk off the stage, drink some tea, hot water or just hot water, and come back to stage. Hey, you guys got that? All right, come on, let's run it. Let's try it. He never got angry. He never got frustrated. You know, and that was something I actually walked away with. At the end of the day, it's just music, and I think we as humans we fight for perfection so much. Um, we fight for, you know, and I understand being on time. I was an hour early today.
Right. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's making me feel bad.
No.
Meanwhile, I'll be there in 40 minutes, girl.
Right. I do like to get to places on time because I don't like to rush. When I get there, I want to relax a
Chill
little
and
bit. I want to
relax.
chill and get in my headspace, like to meditate. Um, but I know that as a educator, we all are different. We're all very different. Some of us are just not going to show up on time. It's just not how we work. And I could talk about my brother Mike, who passed away a couple of years ago. I remember him coming into a meeting late as usual, and he just said, "Hey, look, I ain't never gonna come here on time." But the brother was so on point with everything he was doing, at the nonprofit we worked for, that everybody was like, okay, that's all right, because he was doing what he was supposed to do. So it's kind of like I always thought about that whole concept of firing someone or letting someone go, because they couldn't get to someplace on time, the time that you told them.
Right.
Now, it's one thing if they miss a show or late for a show,
Or yeah, if
or
they're like
sound check.
interrupting the show, like
Yeah,
this
it's
this
like
3 sets of the
it's like
show.
come on,
Right.
But I'm just saying in other situations, we all have those situations where it's like it's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's like let's relax a little bit. We're all on edge about everything. We're yelling at each other. We're quick um to assume. We're very quick to assume things too. Um, so I kind of like to get to know people. Um, because like I said, now that I'm 20 years as an educator, kind of off and on, but some students are going to do things this way, some are going to learn it this way, some are going to learn it this way, and as a teacher, you just have to work with them. A third of your class is going to get whatever you just showed them. So then you explain it a different way. Now two-thirds got it.
Right.
If there's the last third who still doesn't get it, and it's like, okay, two-thirds of the class, can y'all teach them? Like, because
Maybe I'm not the one to teach it to them.
yeah,
How many times has someone told you to do something a certain way, do something a certain way, do it this way? Then another person says, just do it this way. And it's
yeah,
the same thing they've been saying,
yeah,
but you just had to hear it from another person.
yeah. It's just
Yeah.
different wording.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
understand that. Now you've been
Yeah.
teaching for 20 years?
Well, yeah, off and on, yeah. The last 7 years, oh, actually, last 10 years consistently, but yeah, 20
Okay,
years.
so now where are you teaching?
Right now, I'm at a school called Deneen Elementary. It's on the south side, like 73rd and State.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's the first time I've taught elementary in a long time. Just teaching.
How is it?
Huh.
You
Well, I
ready to go
mean,
back to the college, the older
oh, I
kids?
mean, I never missed that. I've got kindergarten. I got K through 8. I think I got everyone except maybe fourth graders.
Okay.
And they're I like them. The kids are great. But one thing about teaching, especially you know, some of the kids that I'm teaching, it's you have to dig into their minds a little bit too much and
Mm-hmm.
become this psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super distracting from the class because the students come in with their family issues, and it's like you can't address them all.
Right.
You can't address them all. You can't hug them. You can't console them really. Um, so it's like, what do you do? But this is a distraction, and it's not just one kid. And that's really where the
It's
problem
many of
is.
them. Well, you said 73rd and State, and I'm not being mean, but that's not the most, you know, wholesome
Hmm.
and white picket fence neighborhood. I mean, there's a
Right.
lot of stuff going on over there.
Yeah, and I'm learning. I mean, I'm not from Chicago. I'm from Detroit, but it's the same thing. But it's really rough getting through a hour lesson. It's rough, and so um, you know, you try to just do whatever you can. But I learn from teaching. I allow the students to teach me. We'll have conversations about Chief Keef. It's like, all right, he still has his house because I heard he lost it.
Whatever interests them, but that's what they're
Yeah,
interested
because
in,
cause they'll talk about
Yeah.
that. They'll say, no, he still has it, but and it's like, okay, I wear my Adidas, I wear my Chucks, I kind of look like them a little bit, just to relate to them a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of the students on the first day of class, I just started the school 2 weeks ago. First day of class, I learned that the students kind of just don't have any hope. They said, why do I need to go to high school? You up here talking about college and high school? I said, wait, I didn't say a word about college. I'm talking about high school. And they said, what's the point in going to high school? Such and such is out here making money. He doing this and that, and I'm just like, okay.
But that's your purpose. You're there for, you are there to implement certain things that they may not see.
Hmm.
And that's important, that they see something other than what they're used to seeing. They got to see something outside of the box.
They
So
have to.
you're the outsider box of the
Yeah,
box for them.
yeah,
And keep that in mind as you go.
Oh well, yes. I mean, it's 20 years in now. I haven't. I do enjoy teaching, and I don't give up on students.
Well, you
Admin
enjoy
is a
it
whole
so
nother
much.
thing.
I know. Well, yeah.
Yes, the admin is where I struggle. The students I'm cool with. Even with those thoughts that they have, I try to change their perspectives, and um, I try to do things for them to let them see, like, okay, these are opportunities here for you. Even though they'll ostracize themselves from it a lot of times, I'll still present things. I'll let them know I'm from the hood in Detroit.
Right.
I've seen someone laying on the ground, shot, bleeding to death. Um, I've seen that stuff. But I was able to stay focused. And that's what they don't have right now.
Right.
They don't have
And thank
focus.
you. Thank you for giving up your time to deal with children that don't belong to you. You know what I mean? I mean that in the most real way. It takes a certain type of person to deal with children that don't belong to you and still find hope in them and still be able to instill certain values in them. Everybody doesn't have that
For me, if
gift.
I could get one, I'm happy.
I know that's right.
If I could get one, I'm pretty
Well, speaking
satisfied.
of one, I want you to pull your. I know people are wondering why there are two laptop screens right here. One's
Oh yeah.
mine, one's hers. I want you to pull your screen around, right? And I want you to pick another song to
Oh,
play
okay.
because we're going to take a quick break. And while she's working on that, I'm just going to give you a little bit of information pertaining to the the Women's March on Washington. So, of course, I did my little research. Y'all know I like to research things. And I watched a few of the speeches. And like I said, the Women's March in Washington was 3 times larger than that of the presidential inauguration and parade. Okay. There were even clips of, if you go on Facebook or Google or whatever, you might find clips of, or shots, a dual shot where you see one side is the the I'm sorry, President Obama's inaugural day, and then the other side is Trump's, and there's a big difference. And then they do have a shot somewhere. I couldn't find it before the show started, but they do have a shot of the women's event, the Women's March versus Trump's inaugural event. It was a big difference. So the Secretary of Speech, I think that's what he is. Can't think. I think that's what he is. He's the guy that Secretary of Press. I'm sorry, the Secretary of Press. He went to the podium the day after the event and said that there are 1.5 million people that went to Trump's inaugural event. So now a lot of people are pissed because they're like, okay, if you're going to lie about the amount of people that were at this man's event, whether this information was sought out by yourself, which it probably was, or it was given to you by someone else, like your president that says things like bigly, then he's gonna lie about a bunch of stuff. It's gonna be a whole bunch of lies. So y'all just get ready to just start, marking those lies off because it's gonna happen. And with that being said, I think I have BS'd enough. But she's gonna pick a song to play, and this song is called Bizarre. And we'll be back on the Frankie and Nycee radio show on intellectualradio.com. iHeartRadio.
Mhm.
You wake up feeling like you just lay down and it ain't none of my business. You walking in circles staring at the ground and it's you you're really missing. Your friends all gone, no tree to smoking, no beer, a drink you sipping. The party's moved on and you wanna go back and go back and go get to something. If I had to, I could be you, but I want to just be me. If you want me to be just like you, but I don't think I'm the type I could be. Well, all those things that must go up, some things that make attention. They come back around, reach lost and bound, complete their holy mission. And when it's all said and done, what you got to show that you're worthy of admission. To the next level of the game, it's all the same. It's the human condition. Give a blessing, keep a blessing, lose a blessing, use a blessing, keep the stress levels on the low, cash flow rules everything and everybody. When you got the money, money dollar bill, y'all. Give a blessing, keep a blessing, lose a blessing, use a blessing, keep the stress levels on the low, cash flow rules everything and everybody. When you got the money, money dollar bill, y'all. Now when you wanna hang, you wanna do the same thing. I never know what the flow is. Now I'm doing to me, that's how it's gonna be. Ain't got to keep up with the Joneses. And when it's all said and done, what you got to show that we looking for a similar vision. To the next level of the game may not be the same as the human condition. So let's agree to disagree, cause you don't understand me. I appreciate your confusion. Let's not complex or perplex with simple pettiness. What you see is what you get. This is beauty. Don't look at the real me with all the flaws and the finesse. I know I ain't perfect, but tell me who is. If I had to, I could be you, but I want to just be me. If you want me to be just like you, but I don't think I'm the type I could be.
And we're back on the Frankie and Nycee radio show on intellectualradio.com. iHeartRadio. 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 Usually Nycee chimes in, So anyway, that's okay. It's okay. You ain't Nycee. You ain't Nycee. You got to be yourself, remember? So what were we just playing?
That was a song called Bizarre.
Song was called Bizarre.
Yeah, that was a song called Bizarre. From my album that I released in 2009. That's it's funny. Part of that album was recorded in Detroit,
Oh wow.
and I moved. This was actually the second time I came back. I left Chicago for a minute after college and came back, but yeah. So there's a lot of Detroit folks on there and Chicago folks. So that was Allegra Dolores on that track.
Okay, cool. I love it. It's beautiful. What
Thank
was
you.
the first song? The first song was
Undiscovered These.
Undiscovered D's.
Hmm.
Undiscovered D's.
Hey, hey,
Mm.
hey, 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 hey,
Okay.
hey.
Loved it. Who was that by?
So that was actually the first song I ever completed. Um, it was released on my group's album called Good Hair. So I have a group back home in Detroit called Musique Noire.
Yes, black music, y'all.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's all female.
All female. I read that.
Yeah,
Yes, I love it.
yeah,
Love it from Detroit.
yeah. Although we
Jazz man.
yeah world jazz was it's kind of a fusion between jazz and world music.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Girl, you are everywhere. And just
Yes,
and right now you're here on the Frankie and Nycee
I
radio show.
am.
And that means that since this is your first time,
It
ladies and gentlemen,
is.
what's up, Kiki? What's up, Ranika? Uh-huh. Okay, so listen, y'all
All
know
right.
what's gonna happen. It's called the Frankie's Top Five.
Uh
Every person that comes on this show
oh.
has to do Frankie's Top Five. That's our game. That's how we do it, and it's how we pop your cherry.
I
Okay, so
feel
don't
scared.
be scared. Don't be scared. It's easy. All you got to do is name the top five things off the top of your head based on the subject that I've given you.
Oh God.
It's not that bad.
Well, you don't know me that well
I
though.
know. So
I
you can lie.
well, I'm the most random person, and you said no cursing and stuff, so I'm
Okay,
gonna
well,
do my
just try.
best.
We
I'm gonna
got
do my
5 minutes
best.
to get through
Here we
this.
go. Here we go.
Okay. Top five female musicians of all time.
Oh, top five female musicians of all time.
Yep, in your opinion, off the top of your head.
Sheila E.
Okay.
You
She
knew
said
I was
that
gonna say
proud
that.
chest stuck out,
Oh
everything.
man, Sheila E. Regina Carter, violinist. Uh, my one of my favorite drummers, Terry Lynn Carrington. Um, man, there's so many. Just top five. Jerry Allen, is a pianist, and who do I give this fifth one to? Oh man, I would say Nicole Mitchell. I'm gonna give that one to
She's
her.
amazing.
She
She's
is. She
amazing.
really is.
Top favorite after hour food dives. Top five favorite after hour food
I only
dives.
have a couple. And I
You're a
have to be.
musician. You're supposed, but you don't have the drummer's
But
gut.
see, this is the
So
thing. You don't know
shout out
me.
to Jason Grant.
I,
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day because the boy eats everything. I just don't
oh,
get it. And I'm on this diet kick now. I'm trying to lose all this weight, so I can't have you eating all this stuff in my
oh,
face.
that's what they do. Well, it's funny because I typically go to bed at 9 o'clock. I'm that
Because
musician.
you're old.
Yeah, I've been doing that since college.
Okay, so give me top five
I'll
favorite
give you
restaurants before
top five.
bedtime.
Okay, Iguana Cafe. Iguana Cafe.
Okay.
That is my spot. Take all my men's there.
All the menses.
So Iguana Cafe, El Taco Velos, El Barco, which is on what Ashland and Augusta. Um, any other places? It used to be. Well, I'm not going to say that because I'm going to say it used to be, and then it's going to be putting them on blast. Never mind. I'm going to skip them. See, I'm stopping myself because I blurt out anything.
That's what we want.
Hollywood Grill.
Over there on. Oh my God.
But
Okay.
if you say for me, like after hours,
After hours. Okay, I get it. I've been there a
Hollywood
couple of
Grill.
times.
But I do like the spot. I don't know the name of it on Ashland and 18th. There's a
Ashland 18.
Mexican restaurant right there. It's kind of big.
I don't know.
I don't know the name. And
Okay.
to me, that's not important. It might be important to them, but not to me.
And you obviously like Mexican food because I think like 4 out of the 5 are like Mexican. Lord help her.
Yeah, I can eat chicken tacos every
Chicken
day.
tacos?
That's the way to my heart.
See,
You bring
that's
me
black
chicken
and
tacos.
Mexican. That's like a black
Oh yeah,
a Blexican
yeah,
combination.
yeah.
Blaxican.
Love it.
Top 5 favorite tour spots.
Oh, touring. Um, France. Spain. Spain was the top one. I love Spain. Here in the U.S., I would say always New York. It's always very interesting, even though I don't really get a chance to hang out there when I'm there. Um, yeah, there's not a whole lot. You have to understand when I'm touring, I'm working.
Right.
I don't get a chance to
But
like.
I mean, nothing was like, ooh, on the plane or nothing.
No, I would say there's things I did on tour that I really love, but most of that stuff was in Spain and France.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
I've never been, so there's two places that you got over me.
you gotta go. Yeah,
Top five Detroit wants when you're in Chicago.
Detroit. What?
Wants. Things that you want that are in Detroit that are not in Chicago.
Man,
That's a good one.
it is a good one.
Gotcha.
You wanna know why? Because again, with me going to bed at 9 o'clock,
I'm
I just
done.
don't participate in a
No
whole
Facebook.
lot.
She goes to bed by 9.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
I'm
a
on
hell of a
Facebook all
musician.
day.
You're a
I'm on
hell of a
Facebook all
musician.
day. I just, I know I'm failing as a musician. Um, things that I mean, I would say my family.
Okay.
My family's in Detroit. I would love for them to be here. Um, you know, outside of that, there's certain just the vibe, the vibe of that Detroit music scene. It's not completely different from Chicago, but I do miss those musicians there. I miss a lot of my old friends and the hangouts that we did do. And then I went to bed. I left around 10. It's like, I gotta go, y'all. I hung out already. I'm good. Um, there was a bar there called the Buzz Bar,
Okay.
and that was the hot spot. I don't think it's there anymore, but um, met a lot of people there, and um, yeah, again, it's just that whole vibe, that Detroit vibe.
Okay. Last question.
hmm
Top five things that you simply cannot live without.
Chicken tacos.
I was about to say the tacos better be somewhere on this dang on list. Somewhere these tacos gotta go.
um,
Now that I know that, next time I see you, we going to get tacos.
man, hey, have a great time. Don't throw a margarita up in there now. Come on, one of those spots. Um, but yeah, chicken tacos. I gotta have that. Love, love. That's a big one. Um, my instruments. I got an apartment full of
I'm
stuff.
sure you musicians collect stuff.
You wanna know something? This is the first time I've ever owned furniture. Like
Were you sitting on the drums? She thought about it. Pause.
what?
She had to think about whether or not she sat on the damn drums. Just wanna-
I've definitely used some of that stuff as yeah. I mean, I know I shouldn't, but yeah, I never owned. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. I always, I always thought that Prince was gonna call me.
So you just was like, I'm
I didn't
ready.
want to own anything.
You just want to be able to pack up and go and
Yeah,
take all your
didn't want to
instruments.
deal with no dressers. No, yeah. My bed was given to me. My dressers,
Somebody felt
couches.
bad and gave you a bed. This
I
girl
mean,
ain't got no bed. She's sleeping on her cymbals and her trumpets.
yeah. I mean, it just kind of happened that way. But this year, this past year, well, because now I've opened up the School of Music, so I'm like, I need some furniture and stuff. But yeah.
School of Music, drop the name of it.
Oh, sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
WRITE.
All right, come on. Come on, play on words.
Yes.
Pseudonyms.
Yes.
Okay. Where's it located?
It's at 92nd and Baltimore,
Okay.
South Baltimore Avenue. So it's on the south side, and
And you offer lessons to all ages?
all ages.
Okay.
Although right now all of my students are adults, which
You hear
I
that,
really
Damien? You hear that? Mouse.
love.
My son's on his third drum set.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why
he's
is
had
that?
this since 2 because we bought him small ones,
Oh, yeah.
like a little one. Then we bought him a medium.
See,
Then we bought
this
him a
is
big one.
this is the thing. So like, I used to sell all that stuff too. So I would always tell parents, don't do that because you're just gonna keep replacing it. You might as
Yeah.
well get a $600 drum set,
Yeah.
and it's gonna last for a while.
Yeah. I know.
But yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All
Thank you.
right.
Soundsaboutright.com and or
Okay.
sawmusicschool.com.
Okay. Sawmusicschool.com. Then your website,
Music.com.
joviamusic.com.
Yeah.
Can they find you on Facebook?
They can find me on Facebook, although I don't have any more room for friends.
Okay,
You
because
can
she's
follow me
damn
for a minute,
popular.
but I've got I do have my Facebook page, the fan page. So
Okay.
yeah.
Follow her on her fan page, guys. Jovia, it's been an
Do that.
absolute pleasure. I'm just so glad that you came and you accepted our invitation.
Thanks for
One
having
more
me.
superstar on our list, Nisi BC. I did it. Yes, it's over. So we would like to thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Arnell, Damien, Malcolm. Thank you. Looks like that says Weedy.
Oh,
Okay,
Weedy.
yeah. Yeah, so
Weedy. That's
thank
another
you so much. All
celebrity.
right. Thank you so much, Weedy. For
I
I
love
love your
Weedy.
name. It's amazing.
Oh, he's
Okay.
awesome.
Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you watching and viewing and listening on the Frankie and Nycee radio show on intellectualradio.com, iHeartRadio. If you missed the show, go to our YouTube page, the Frankie and Nycee radio show. Thank you so much again. And next week we have another great guest or guests coming through. Surprise, y'all. All right.
I
We'll
know
see
who it
you.
is.
You do?
No, I
No, she
don't.
don't. We'll holla.